Well, one of the most interesting and intriguing storylines that have developed throughout NBA free agency is the guys that maybe valued themselves a lot higher than what they were. I'm pretty confident that Dennis Schroder is going to fire his agent, his management, whatever representation he's got in the upcoming days, because he has dramatically overplayed his hand. Like, this is bad. Reportedly, he turned down a 4-year, $84 million extension with the Los Angeles Lakers. Ladies and gentlemen, Dennis Schroder remains unsigned. And of the teams that are looking for a point guard, apparently nobody's interested in Schroder right now. Obviously, he will get a job, but we're talking about a guy that was about to make starting point guard, good starting point guard money, over $20 million a year, to a guy that we'll see what he ends up with. I'm thinking maybe $11 million, $10 million, and or maybe probably a short-term deal. You're not going to lock in any stability long-term. You're not going to be in LA more times than not. Like, this is a bad situation for Dennis Schroder, and I just don't understand how his team didn't see this coming. Like, he didn't play great with Anthony Davis and the Lakers last year. He did not play great. He did not play great. And I'll be the first to admit that. But I'm not going to blame him for everything, because if AD is healthy, even as bad as I thought Schroder was, remember the man had COVID, towards the latter part of the season, and tried to work himself in back pretty much in the playoffs, and he wasn't able to do that. He didn't work great with LeBron. He didn't work great with AD either. I still feel like if AD is healthy, the Lakers get to the Western Conference Finals, at least, if Kawhi's going to go down with injury. And with that being said, I feel like the Lakers would have been fine, right? Like I felt like Dennis Schroder at that point in time would have gotten a paycheck. If the Lakers get to the NBA Finals somewhere around there, they're fine. They're fine. Dennis Schroder will be your starting point guard next year. But because of injuries, because of COVID, he never was able to prove himself with those big games for the Lakers. And the Lakers moved on and ended up with Westbrook. And now the reality of Dennis Schroder is not going to get 20. I can guarantee you this. He would have got, $21 million a year in LA? Whatever team he goes to, there ain't $21 million worth of cap anywhere right now. So wherever he ends up with, it's going to be a move where you're like, dang, this is not as good of a spot I would have had I taken that extension a few months ago. And that's why agents get fired. By the way, when decisions like that are made, I don't know if maybe Schroder didn't listen to his agent. Maybe his agent said, hey, take this money. Take that deal. And Schroder didn't listen. No matter what, I'm firing my agent. Like, if you were unable to convince me to take that deal, right? If you were not in my ear enough to get me to listen to you, if I went the opposite way, I'm still firing you. Like, you got to go. If I'm about to lose out on $30, $40, $50 million, somebody's getting fired. And this is an awful situation for Dennis Schroder right now. Again, as I report to you right now, there are not a lot of teams interested in his services.